HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stony Company.
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
It's so weird for me to start this. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Derek Mason is the one member of Chase, Willy, and D-Mase that's here today. Hello, Derek.
Hey, what's going on?
Again, I'm on your show, so we got a lot. First of all, let me start with this on this Fireball Hot Take Friday. Let's play some freaking hockey today.
Oh, man. First game of the season, is it?
Yeah, it's the first game of the season today at
Dallas
1 o'clock.
Stars.
Right here, San Jose Sharks. Dallas
San Jose,
next week.
Dallas and next
San Jose starts at 1 o'clock right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Pre-game show starts at noon, so we're really excited about that. And then after that game's over, and then after the post-game show, I'll be back on with Little Stillman and Company later today on the program. I do want to start, and we got a lot of Titans to get to, and Tennessee's got a huge game tomorrow, and I really didn't think we'd be talking about this today until I watched the game last night. The Broncos and the Colts. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I've watched some bad football in my life.
Uh-huh.
And this may not be the worst football I've ever seen, but it's pretty close to it. And not only is it bad football, but two quarterbacks who, one just got paid $250 million, and the other guy who was supposed to be the savior of the Indianapolis Colts. And they couldn't score a touchdown last night. And it wasn't that one team won the game. I know Indianapolis got credit for a win, which is so incredibly disheartening. But the reality is, for me, is that Denver is terrible and Indy is terrible. And, I mean, what did you make of last night's game?
Last night's game was I've never seen a football game like that. And I've seen some bad Thursday night football games, as we all have, because Thursday night is usually at night. You know, guys are tired from the Sunday night game, and you're asking them to play, 3-4 days later, and you see the fatigue in their bodies. But last night was just something. It wasn't just the fatigue of them playing. It was just bad football. I mean, you could be tired and still play a somewhat good game. But last night, that had nothing to do with fatigue. It didn't. I mean, Russell Wilson looks bad. He looks like the worst quarterback in the NFL. He does. And anybody that want to dispute that, they didn't see last night's game, or they didn't see him throughout this whole season. They're horrible.
Well, let's not let the other guy off the hook too, because he stinks.
Yeah, he's bad as well. I mean, Matt Ryan is, he got sacked, 6 times last night, 6 or 7 times?
Something like that. I think he fumbled twice, threw 2 picks.
Fumbled twice. He doesn't look comfortable in the huddle. In the pocket. It's as if, and I've watched Matt Ryan a lot throughout his career. I don't think he's ever looked like this. Even last year in Atlanta, they didn't have a good team, but he didn't look like this. It's like he's almost anticipating, like, I'm going to get a rush, so I need to get this. I need to find somebody open very quickly. And it's not working out. The offensive line situation isn't working out. They don't have Jonathan Taylor. Their skill guys are non-existent. A guy make a play here and there, you don't get excited because you don't know if he's going to make the next play. So you witness, I think everybody witnessed 2 very bad teams and 2 quarterbacks that seem to be on a complete downward spiral.
I think that, what bothers me about this game is that Indianapolis got credit for a win. Because
somebody had to win,
I mean, here's the thing that's nuts, right?
Uh-huh.
Both coaches stink. I mean, they both stink. That Hackett, man, he stinks. And I know people are going to be like, oh, there's Jared Stillman talking about. I've never seen a coach get fired after 4 games or 5 games. I think this guy might be pushing it. Like, I think that he might be pushing it with, 2 quarterbacks that were supposed to be good that are terrible. And not only that, I mean, I would say the most disheartening element about the Colts winning that game yesterday was just how poorly they played and how poorly they coached and everything bad that happened to them, and they still won the game. Like, they changed their offensive line. I've never explained this to me with Indianapolis, because they changed their offensive line going into yesterday's game, which we knew their offensive line stunk. We spent the whole pregame show talking about it on Sunday. And they put a rookie in at left tackle on the road on a Thursday night at Denver. So they moved the left tackle to right tackle, the right tackle to right guard, the right guard to the bench, and a rookie at left tackle. How many days of practice do you have on a Thursday night football?
Really, 1?
Okay, so 1 day of practice,
Yeah.
and you're going on the road to Denver with the loudest. I mean, I think that might be the hardest place to play in the NFL. You played there, so I guess you know.
Could be one of the loudest places, but then again, if your team's not good.
Well, they're not getting a first down.
Exactly.
That's the problem. And they still won the game. Like, the level of stupid with which Indianapolis is coaching and playing, and they're only 2-1. They are 1 tie behind the Titans. Like, if the Titans lose on Sunday to Washington, which I don't think they're going to, but
you never know.
I was talking to TD about this yesterday, and I was talking about the Titans, and I said, normally when we say things like if that team plays to what they're capable of, we're talking about, if they play to what they're capable of in a good way. When I talk about if this team plays to what they're capable of with the Titans, I'm talking about in a bad way. Like, if they play how they're capable of, they very easily could lose to Washington. No matter how bad Washington is, that's just the thing the Titans do. If the Titans lose on Sunday, they are a half a game behind the Indianapolis Colts. Because the Colts would be 2-1, the Titans would be 2-3. That is so disheartening to me after watching what I saw with Indy yesterday. But then I'm also watching this game thinking about how the Broncos are on the Titans schedule, and I'm like, don't have to worry about them this year. And let me say this about both teams, but specifically Denver. I don't see either team turning it around. I've always told people September football is weird. Like, things will happen in September that you look back in November and you're like, they lost that game to that quarterback? Like, how did that? Like, you guys lost to the Steve Spurrier Washington team with Patrick Ramsey as the quarterback and ended up in the AFC Championship game. Like, crazy things happen in September. But it's October now. Like, it's not September football anymore. I don't see either of these two teams turning it around, especially the Broncos, because the negativity there, I mean, the fans were leaving in a tie game in the 4th quarter.
That's bad. That is what you call, a statement. The fans made a statement yesterday. And
they booed the whole game.
they are not happy. And when you have going into halftime, not going into halftime, but going into overtime, they actually and the NFL, and I'm surprised the NFL did this. Honestly, I'm surprised. Well, I'm pretty sure if it was on the NFL Network, maybe they wouldn't have. But because it was on Prime. You don't see the NFL showing fans leave, especially in an overtime game, where they actually, showed the fans walking out the building and then, commented on the fans walking out the building. Like, listen, they're tired of this trash that is basically they're watching. The NFL, if that was on a Sunday night game, you don't see that. No. They're not going to show the fans. They're just not going to do that. I was surprised they did, but that just shows you the disgust that not only the fans had, but the viewers, and the people in the truck that was like, we're here working this awful game. We could have did a high school game and probably got better than this. I wonder what the viewership was last night.
Oh, I bet it was down in the – I mean, my dad was like, I turned it off.
My
dad was like, my buddy who's a Broncos fan was like, I turned it off. Like, they were like, I had to turn it off. I mean, I was joking around, and this is a joke, so I want everybody to understand before what I say. I'm like, last week, Tua almost died on the football field in front of our own eyes on Thursday Night Football, and Roger Goodell didn't say anything, probably didn't have to say anything. I mean, again, this is a joke, but Roger Goodell might have to hold a press conference today to discuss public confidence in the National Football League after what we had to watch on Thursday night last night. Here's the other thing, too. I think that Russell might just be bad. Like, there is an adjustment period, in my opinion, for a new quarterback that goes to a new team that, new coach, new system. And because it's a new coach, everybody has to learn a new system. And because Russell doesn't know the system, he's got to learn the system and he's got to learn the receivers, and they don't practice as much as they used to when you played and all that kind of stuff. So I think it takes time, which is why we're seeing a lot of the new quarterbacks in new places struggle this year. But I think he might just be bad.
You know what? You say that, but then I think back and I say, well, how many quarterbacks have we seen within like the last 10 years? Because prior to 10 years ago, I mean, you wasn't seeing marquee quarterbacks sort of switch teams.
No.
But now it's like the NBA. It's like, I need an arm for hire. So if you want to come be on my team, we'll pay you whatever we want. We'll give up whatever draft picks we need. We just want to win a Super Bowl. But I don't, going back to Peyton Manning, going back to Tom Brady,
which those are some pretty special circumstances.
But even Matt Stafford.
Sure.
And there's maybe one or two other quarterbacks when they switch teams. They didn't struggle like this.
Yeah, Drew Brees didn't when he went to New Orleans.
Drew Brees didn't struggle like this. And at one point in time, there was this argument about is Russell is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Is it? And I remember saying this, and I want to go back up in sometime within the next week or so, pull up what I said about Russell Wilson. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I never thought he was an elite quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he's not an elite quarterback. He's a quarterback that you put on. He's Ryan Tannehill. That's just what he is. You put people around him that are really, really good. The year he won a Super Bowl, they had a historic defense, and they had playmakers on offense. A couple years ago, they had playmakers on offense when he threw for all those yardage. Now, he's not a guy that can elevate people. He's not. We are seeing it. Now, things can change, but I don't think it's going to change to a point where we look at him and say, oh, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. Just because he won a Super Bowl doesn't mean he's a Hall of Famer. Phil Simms won a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. We don't consider those guys Hall of Famers. He's not a Hall of Famer the way he's been playing. And this is not the first year it started.
So I want to say, like, the first day that Floyd and I ever worked together, Russell Wilson was signing, like, his last contract before this contract that he just signed. And maybe he signed a contract in the middle somewhere. But we were talking about that, and Floyd told me, he was like, if Russell signs that contract, like, goodbye Legion of Boom, goodbye Marshawn Lynch, goodbye. And I was like, and what's that mean? He goes, they're not going to be very good. I said, really? He's like, no. I said, he goes, the whole key to that team on offense is Marshawn Lynch. Like, that's why that team is. And this was off air, and I said, okay, well, you're the general manager at Seattle. What do you do? He goes, well, you have to sign a quarterback. You don't have a choice. You can't not sign the quarterback. You can't not have a quarterback. But he was like, once that happens, I mean, they're not competing for Super Bowls anymore. And I think it played out exactly like that. I mean, I'll say this. I've watched like 2 Seahawks games this year when they've been on TV. Geno Smith's playing better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
He is.
I mean, that's embarrassing. Like, that is here's what I think Russell is a couple things. First off, I do think there's an adjustment period for all the quarterbacks and everything else, and Russell's going through that. 2, I think Russell's really not as good as he was hyped up to be. Like, he was never in the Manning, Brady, that kind of quarterback class.
He's not in their class.
He was never that kind of guy. He never belonged at that table ever at any point in his career. I think the third thing with him is that I think he kind of comes off as kind of like full of himself.
Yeah.
And I think that rubs teammates and fans and everything else the wrong way. And then I think the fourth thing is, like, dude, when you sign for a $250 million contract, like, these are the expectations. Not to be worse than Geno Smith.
Well, that's what you got.
So let's pick this up. 615-737-1025. Let's get your reaction to last night. 615-737-1025 and what we saw. And hey, here's what's crazy. I'm going to have to admit that I was wrong about something. I am going to have to admit. Because I thought after the Bengals playoff game that the Titans had to go move off of Ryan Tannehill and find a better quarterback. and I included Russell Wilson in the group
Uh-huh.
that is better than Ryan Tannehill, I think we can legitimately discuss after what we've seen so far this season if it's fair to say that Tannehill is clearly better than Russell Wilson. 615-737-1025. That's what we'll do. It's a Fireball Hot Take Friday right here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Jared in with D-Mase, 615-737-1025. And our phones work again. How about that? All right. So we'll get to you early and often today. Right here, Derek's with us. If you want to say it's Stillman and Company on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
Is brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Family Leisure invites you to relax at home this fall with all our indoor products on sale now.
Enjoy the movie theater experience with theater seating from Family Leisure. 3-piece sets start at only $9.99. Massage chairs are only $14.99 as well.
30 pool tables on display. Hundreds in stock for immediate delivery. Pool tables start at $14.99 install.
Family Leisure has above-ground pools ready for immediate installation.
Outdoor and wicker furniture. Huge selection still in stock.
Family Leisure's Relax at Home sale.
Antioch and Franklin.
Fall is my favorite time of the year. Colorful leaves, cool air, football, and the start of hockey season. When it comes to lassoing up my favorite adult beverages before the game, I trot on over to Red Spirits and Wine. At Red, I always find the best selection of beer, distilled spirits, hard seltzers, cigars, wines from around the world, and so much more. Red's Cracker Jack crew always provides the friendliest service and straight shooting recommendations without ever coming off like some of those patronizing whoop-de-doos you can lock horns with at some places. Red also offers a variety of delivery options like Drizzly and DoorDash. It's like in that old Ozzy Osbourne tune we sing around the campfire. If you could see inside my head, you'd see that black and white is red. Red Spirits and Wine, flying high again at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard. And check Red out on social media and at redspirits.com.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willy Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
I love this show.
Never miss a moment of the show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Subscribe to the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Anyway.
They're leaving. The Broncos fans are bailing.
They've had enough.
It's 9-9. They're like, the heck with it. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out of here.
I was wondering last night if we were going to get some unrated Al Michaels on Amazon Prime, because Al was fed up with how terrible that game was last night.
Al's like, listen, man,
he's tied the record for the most Super Bowls called. He's the greatest football announcer maybe ever.
It's like, man, I'm getting older. I can't just be sitting in the booth, calling a horrible game. I can't do this on Thursday nights. They got to be better. So
I'm on the Chase, Willy, and D-Mase show today, and I do owe on this Fireball Hot Take Friday, I do owe an apology. And that is, I don't know if it's to Ryan Tannehill. I don't know who it's to. But I guess the admission of wrong that's about to come out of my mouth is when the Titans lost to the Bengals, I basically said, like, hey, look, there aren't that many quarterbacks out there that are better than Ryan Tannehill, and it's hard to find a quarterback who's better than Ryan Tannehill. But if the Titans want to win the Super Bowl, they have to get a quarterback who's better than Ryan Tannehill, which I don't completely disagree with at this point by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But the three guys that I circled as maybe possibilities, one, Rodgers, which was a possibility because he was telling people that he was open to joining the Titans.
And that would have been an upgrade, definitely.
Absolutely. Two, Brady, because there was all that lingering talk that he hated Tampa Bay, and we didn't know that he was going to go to Miami or try to go to Miami. But Brady, who I don't know if they passed on or whatever. And three was Russell Wilson. I was like, those three guys are better than Tannehill, and it might cost an arm and a leg to get any of them. But they're all three better than Tannehill, and this team could compete for a Super Bowl with those guys. I don't even think it's a discussion. And I'm talking about not just here in Nashville. Like, if I were to go on Sirius, and I'm on Sunday, if I were to go on Sirius on Sunday and say that I think Ryan Tannehill is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson, that's not a crazy.
No, it's not.
At this point, right?
No, it's not. At this juncture in the season or in their career, let's just say their career, because it's you kind of sort of push all the other stuff to the back. You're just looking at them now as quarterbacks.
Like, who would I rather have start for the Titans on Sunday against Washington?
I would rather have Ryan Tannehill.
Not even close.
The way that Russell Wilson is playing, it's almost like he's disinterested. It's almost like he's thinking, why did I even come here? And my thing, too, is for him, you're not going to have a good team, one, because of what they had to get what had to give up to bring you here. So you knew your team was going to be struggling somewhat in regards to bringing in talent. You knew you were going to have to work with the young talent, and hopefully the young talent matures and become good. And I'm pretty sure that's what John Elway is thinking. But then when you sign that massive contract, now you give them no leeway to sign anybody moving forward. This is why I respect Tom Brady so much. I dislike him because he went to Michigan. That's always going to be. But this is why I respect him so much, because he was like, listen, it's championships over money for me. The money will come. I win Super Bowls, the endorsements will come. Everything. And look at what has happened. He took almost half of what he should have earned each year and said, you know what? Y'all sign who y'all need to sign. Keep the guys intact. I'm going to take half, but we're going to win championships. Could Tom Brady have made $50 million before Aaron Rodgers made $50 million? Absolutely, he could have.
So Floyd told me that because Floyd was the lead negotiator for the Patriots, that it was a really hard contract to do because Floyd would call Don Yee and say, what does Tom want? And then Don would call team needs until we know how much it's going to cost to pay Tom. So once we know how much it'll cost to pay Tom, then we'll know what we can get. So it was like this back and forth of like, Tom, what do you want? But it was like, well, what do we need?
Exactly. Like,
if you'll take $1, we'll do that. I mean, like that.
If you need to sign Edelman back, if you need to sign this guy back, you sign those guys back. I'm gonna tell you, hey, I want $15 million a year.
Russell Wilson never do that.
No, he would never do that. It's all. Even though he's won a Super Bowl, even though he's one of the faces of the NFL, he would never do that.
Here's my thing, though. He can't play.
He's not good.
I mean, and this goes back to the Tannehill.
He's not good.
The Tannehill thing, right? Like, right now, if I had to win a game, I mean, Tannehill does a lot of things that drive me crazy. But Tannehill doesn't just throw the ball. I mean, did you see that one interception Russell threw yesterday where he just
threw it in the one in the end zone?
He punted.
Yeah.
That was a punt.
Did you see the fans' face? All the fans' face. They were just in disgust.
They hate this guy.
How can you do what made you throw that pass?
They hate this guy in Denver.
Yeah, this is one John Elway is if this continues to go the way it's going, because here's the problem.
Are you going to kick out George Payton and take back over?
Exactly. Here's the problem. They can't go out and get marquee players because they don't have the draft picks, and they probably don't have enough money to go unless the owner want to say, forget it. I got money in my pocket. I'm just going to pay guys, based upon that and not based upon the salary cap. That's the only way they're going to be able to go out. And guys are going to look at it from this standpoint. Oh, you want me to come there? Oh, you got to give me a little bit extra. because they know that the owner has to, and he will. He has no other choice. You didn't give $250 million to this quarterback who looks awful. So what are you going to do? You got to sign guys. It's almost like a Christian Kirk thing. Like you bring Christian Kirk in, not necessarily Christian Kirk, but somebody of his caliber that's really only worth, based upon his play, maybe $7-8 million a year. Well, you got to pay him $18 million a year just to give him to come.
Because he'll go back to where he was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is the trend that the Denver Broncos are going to be in until they start winning.
What a disaster. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. 615-737-1025. Byron is going to kick us off today on a Fireball Hot Take Friday on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. What you got, Byron?
I appreciate y'all taking my call, fellas. Happy Friday. I was going to just chime in on the game last night. It must be something in the water. Jared's admitting he was wrong, and I'm about to do the same thing. So I got a son that he was a competitive soccer player growing up, and I've followed people for years. The game is all about the anticipation. So I always said I appreciate a low-scoring defensive football game. I was wrong. Last night that was awful. Don't know who we felt more sorry for, whether it was the players on the field or the people in the stands that were trapped there.
Well, you go back to defensive football game. Good call, Byron. You go back to defensive football game. I said this to somebody today, my buddy who's a Broncos fan, and I was like, that wasn't a defensive football game. I watched Ryan Tannehill put up 24 points and a half on that Indianapolis defense. I mean, I don't know about, I don't want to speak for you, but the Indy defense ain't that good.
Nah.
And old man Gilmore cannot run anymore.
He got him an interception in the end zone.
Oh yeah. I mean, Russell throws the ball 8 yards behind the guy.
And late.
And I got all buddy at CNN all mad at me, which I we'll get into that. But again, I mean, that was not. There's a difference between a good defensive football game. You play. Okay, I mean, when you were on the Titans, you guys won games 9-6, and Al Del Greco kicking field goal. That was watchable football. It was just good defense, good sack here or what. This was just Russell Wilson. The Broncos were in the red zone 4 times yesterday, and they kicked 1 field goal. 4 red zone trips. Like if the Titans get into the red zone 4 times and they score 1 touchdown, I'm not happy with the performance from the Titans. But I know that the Titans are going to kick 3 field goals if they're in the red zone 4 times. They were in the red zone 4 times and they kicked 1 field goal. They didn't score any touchdowns.
Here's the deal.
Vanderbilt could do better than that.
Shout outs to Clark Lee.
I like Clark.
Me too. Here's the difference with watching a game that has 2 really good defenses and watching a game that there's no points being scored, and you assume it's because the defense is going crazy or the defense is just awesome. And 2 really good defensive, when you're playing a defensive team, and they're like, say for the Ravens, for instance, when the Ravens and the Titans were playing, that was 2 defense. Like you looked at the stats, the players, everything. They were top 3 defenses, both of them. So you knew as an offensive unit, this was going to be a tough one for both sides. Has nothing to do with the quarterbacks because both defenses have made the best quarterbacks look bad. So this has nothing to do with the quarterbacks, has nothing to do with the playmakers outside. It's just that this defense is historically good. The Baltimore Ravens was historically good. The Titans, they were historically good for what we were doing. That last night had nothing to do so much with defense.
No.
It was all bad quarterback play.
There are 2 good defensive players that really stood out to me yesterday. The Patrick Surtain's kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Patrick Surtain II.
He is a bad boy.
Yeah, he's legit.
And that rookie safety the Colts have out of, Yale? He made every play in the back end for Indianapolis. Other than that, it wasn't that was not Ray Lewis and Javon Curse and Blaine Bishop and,
Don't
Keith
mistake
Bullock
that defense.
And we're seeing run down the field. 615-737-1025. We'll get back into your phones here on the program today. Also, coming up next, do we have to worry about the Colts? I know they stink. but they are one tie behind the Titans. We'll get into that coming up here on the program. Tune into the college football game of the week on 94.9 The Fan this Saturday as MTSU takes on UAB at 2:30. The college football game of the week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. And speaking of Twin Peaks, be sure to join us for the pregame show this Sunday live from Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Join me, D-Mase, and Crazy Uncle Chris Sanders from 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Titans and the Commanders. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company.
Later today.
Delivers a howitzer from the left point.
The Predators open their season with Game 1 against San Jose in Prague, Czech Republic.
It's a new experience, so I think it's something that you want to take advantage of.
Pregame at noon. Face off at 1 on your home for Nashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
How are ya? From Brooklyn, New York, Andrew Dice Clay.
Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50.
Coming January 29th to the Ryman. On sale now. Get your tickets online at Ryman.com and AXS.com. The Dice Man, live.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and football season is well underway, and now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do is sign up with promo code ROB. I like the Titans against the Commanders coming up this weekend on the money line, but you can take it any way you want to on FanDuel. They've got your favorite bets from the money line, the point spreads, the player props, and you get paid quickly as well when you win. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
TSU football lives here.
The Tigers are back at Nissan Stadium as they take on Bethune-Cookman. Join us on 102.5 The Game later today, starting at 4:30.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's a great win. Obviously, we were all concerned about, the flow of the game, the things we weren't able to do, the penalties, the turnovers, the difficulty. But look at, this is a fight. And these guys, I told Chase, he's got that Navy SEAL beard, and he was a Navy SEAL today with those kicks. And hey, there is no such thing as an ugly win. There's no such thing as a beautiful loss. So to me, I know it was tough, but this win looks like a beauty to me. Rock out Welch times 40. So go Colts.
Jim Irsay last night after the game, boy, he was all fired up. The only person in America who was fired up about the Colts' victory, Jim Irsay. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, Fireball Hot Take Friday. One quick question, then we're right back to your phones. The Colts are 2-2-1 The Titans are 2-1, which means that even though Indy is freaking terrible, I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Even though Indy is freaking terrible, the Colts are only a tie behind the Titans. Do we have to worry about the Indianapolis Colts going forward right now?
That is alarming that this team has been this bad through 5 games, and they still are just a half game behind the Tennessee Titans.
Just a tie.
As a fan, you should be worried moving forward, because I guess you can be worried but also a little bit optimistic, because this division is going to be up for grabs until the end of the season.
Who do you root for next week between Jacksonville and Indianapolis?
I like Jacksonville. I'm rooting for Jacksonville because, to me, I think Jacksonville has the best roster of any one of these teams.
So then you should root for Indianapolis.
Yeah, but to me, Indianapolis, it doesn't matter. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs unless they change something, unless something changes. That offensive line, just like the Titans, they can't change people. You just hope that the play change. The Titans are starting to change their play in their offensive line. Indy hasn't. You saw that was evident last night. But the saving grace is that this division is a mid-level division. That's what it is. I'm not going to say it's a bad division, but it's a mid-level division.
Titans just need to win the games they should win, like this week, and then win the division game.
And I'm telling you this: if Houston beats Jacksonville, that puts Houston right back in the mix. And that sounds crazy, does it?
Houston's
doesn't
not.
it?
Houston's not.
I'm just saying, if Houston beats Jacksonville, that puts them right back in the mix because of how this division is.
It's still early. If that happens, if Houston beats Jacksonville, and then that highlights that Jacksonville's not very good, the Titans, in theory, could run away with this division.
But are they going to run away with it?
They're going to get better. Like, Vrabel's going to coach them up, and they're going to get better. You brought up the offensive line.
Yeah.
They're going to figure out the second half. Derrick Henry's going to –
But they can't afford any more injuries.
I would agree, but maybe I'm a homer. I don't know. But
I'm glad you own that.
Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Dan, 615-737-1025. What you got, Dan?
Hey, good morning, guys. I know that people can, heap dirt all over quarterback play last night. It was an abject disaster. That was possibly the worst football game that I've seen in many, many years. But at the same time, what do you expect if you are a Colts fan and you see on a short week, you move your left tackle to right tackle, your right tackle to right guard, you start your rookie at left tackle without any legitimate practice time whatsoever, only walkthroughs. I think if that happened here in Tennessee with the Titans, if Vrabel did something like that, people would be absolutely cutting his head off. And to answer your question about, should the Titans be worried about the Colts, I think it goes both ways. Do the Colts need to worry about the Titans? Because you just laid out a few different things. There were quite a few ifs in there for things to go right for the Titans to make a run.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think the Titans are much, and I appreciate your call, Dan.
Yeah.
I think the Titans are much better than the Colts.
Yeah, and in that situation, Jared, thank you, Dan. I think if that was to happen to the Tennessee Titans, I think what you wouldn't see the same thing you saw from the Indianapolis Colts. Why? Because Vrabel's just a much better coach. Mm-hmm. I don't think Frank Reich can hold a candle to Vrabel. I think if Vrabel had to make those moves, putting guys in different places, he will make sure that we're going to keep everything we do simple so these guys can go out there and play. Frank Reich, I don't think Frank Reich is like that. I think Vrabel is willing to adjust to what he has and play that way. I don't think Frank Reich is like that. I think he's like, listen, we got to move people. We're still playing the type of ball we want to play.
I think my thing about the Titans is that the Titans just have too many veterans that have had success on their team that would not let things like this get that bad. Like Matt Ryan has not had success on the Colts. DeForest Buckner has not had success on the Colts. Stefan Gilmore has not had success on the Colts. So, I mean, other than Jonathan Taylor, who was out yesterday, and he's not a veteran, they don't have like a Byard or a Henry or like the guy that's going to be like, all right, fine, I'll make sure that this
Shaq Leonard is
he's
hurt.
Out.
So,
yeah. So I think that's part of it. And I'm with you. I mean, I think the coach is better. The Titans coach is better. I I mean, the Titans have had their moments over the years. They went to Denver and they didn't score a point, and Mariota got benched from that point forward. But, I mean, when I say that I just think the Titans are a much better team than the Colts, it's not that I'm saying that the Titans are very good. It's just the Colts are very bad. The Titans are fine. The Titans are right now where we are 4 weeks into the season. The Titans are one field goal away from being 3-1. They're also, 1 or 2 disastrous plays away from being 0-4. Just like every other team in the league, they're playing bad football, but they get it cleaned up. That's like the offensive line. I kept telling everybody after the second or third week, people were yelling and screaming about the offensive line and the offensive line coach. And I was like, I've done this already. Like, I've done this. I've asked Vrabel at a press conference about the offensive line coach in the middle of the season 3 years ago. And Vrabel was like, no, I believe in the offensive line coach, full confidence. And then Derrick Henry won the rushing title. And then the next year, the line started off slow, and then Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards. And then the next year, Derrick Henry got hurt, and they still ran the ball. So I just assumed the line was going to get better. I don't know if I can make those assumptions that Indy is necessarily going to get better. Whereas I do feel like the Titans are going to get better.
Yeah, you're right about it. I look at this Titans team, and this is the difference to me between where the Titans are now and where the Colts are now. Now, again, things can change for both teams. The Colts can get better. The Titans can get worse. The Titans can get better. The Colts can get even better or even worse than what they are. I don't know if they get worse than what they are, then we got a serious problem.
Yeah.
But I think if you lined up all the teams in the NFL, just all the teams, we're not talking about AFC, NFC, all the teams in the NFL, the Titans are closer to a top 10 team than Indianapolis is. Now, if you take out the NFC, the Titans are closer to a top 5 team or 6 team than the Indianapolis Colts. And a lot of it, to me, this is only me, a lot of it has to do with their coach.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe, even though I don't think this roster's good, I just believe that Vrabel will find a way or coach these guys into a playoff spot.
Well, their roster wasn't really all that good last year.
Yeah.
And they were the number 1 seed in the AFC, and he was the coach of the year. And so the roster is maybe a little bit worse this year, but it's not a lot worse than it was last year. And so we're not saying that he's got to coach him into the number 1 seed in the AFC.
He just got to coach him into the playoffs.
He just got to coach him into the playoffs in this horrendous division.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I do think that this week's game, I do believe that this week's game will tell me a lot about the Titans. Because they can't lose to Washington. No, there's certain teams I feel like you can't lose to. Washington is one of them. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back into your phones. Plus, I pissed off somebody at CNN, and I'm not sorry about it. We will get into that coming up next. Jared Stillman, I'm in for Chase and Willie today. D-Mase is here for Chase, Willie, and D-Mase. It's a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Hey, join Michelle Knezevec tomorrow at Broadway Brewhouse downtown at 317 Broadway for the SEC Game of the Week presented by BettingHero.com. They're going to help you enjoy your experience betting on mobile and maybe even buy you a beer. Fun starts tomorrow at 2:30. That is tomorrow for the SEC Game of the Week.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezevec every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, you know that I have made Superbook Sportsbook my official sportsbook. Can you beat Vegas this football season? Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in my second favorite city besides this one, Las Vegas, Nevada. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports. It's just the best odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, here's another great feature that they have. They have some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So do like I do. Make it your official sportsbook. Download that Superbook Sports app. And this weekend, I like North Carolina plus 3.5 on the road at Miami. If you feel so inclined, do like I do. Put a little bit on the Tar Heels to cover that spread. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com. And you can start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for today. A warmer start, but a cooler end to the day after 50s in the morning. High temperatures low to middle 70s later on this afternoon. Still dry, still humidity free. Possible frost Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints, with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Surveys, good protection, slides, fires, broken up in the end zone. Gilmore on Sutton. So the defensive player of the year a couple of years back, and somehow, some way.
On the final play, you got to run the ball. Again, like, I mean, I wish I had Marshawn up here. Like 1 yard. You need 1 yard. Run the ball. Run the ball. CT.
He's triggered.
All he has to do is run the football. Like, necessary criticism. I'm not, I've said enough criticism for him, but God dang it, run the dang ball. Like, learn from your mistakes.
Can somebody fill me in? What is he referring to? I'm confused. Have you been in this situation before?
Run the ball.
I will say this.
Richard Sherman on the Amazon postgame show yesterday. I think Derek does not like the idea of Russell Wilson throwing the ball when he only needs to gain 1 yard, as he learned that way in the Super Bowl. So Bakari Sellers, who I knew that name.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know who it was. You know this because your Twitter is verified and my Twitter is verified now that I'm not hacked and selling cryptocurrency anymore. But if you have a verified Twitter account, and somebody with a verified Twitter account says something, you'll get the notification.
Uh-huh.
And so last night, I was just minding my own business, watching the game, and somebody tweeted me about Stefan Gilmore because I watched the tape of the Titans and the Colts, and Stefan Gilmore can't run anymore. Mm-hmm. 3 years ago, he was as good of a corner in the league as there was, and he cannot run anymore. And that last Sunday, the Titans had Westbrook Akine running right by him, and Robert Woods running right by him. And so somebody tweeted me and was like, you were right, Gilmore can't run. And I was like, he cannot run anymore. He's a safety. I'll put that on Twitter. Bakari Sellers of CNN, after Gilmore had the interception of Russell Wilson, which was a terrible throw by Wilson.
Yeah, that's horrible.
After the interception, he quote tweeted my quote and then put a little clown emoji. Why, whatever.
I don't get that, Bakari, but okay.
Now, Gilmore makes the play at the end of the game. Also, a bad throw by Russell Wilson and a horrendous decision by Russell Wilson. And Bakari Sellers tweets out, his name is Stefan Gilmore, and at Jared Stillman, you are a clown. Own it tonight. Well, I mean, I'm like, fine. So I said back to Bakari, he stinks with a bunch of exclamation points. He can't run anymore at all. And Bakari goes, this is analysis. So I don't know what I did. I don't know why Bakari Sellers of CNN was searching me out. But apparently he was mad at my Stefan Gilmore takes. Let me say this. I'm not apologizing for the Stefan Gilmore takes. Stefan Gilmore's not good anymore. And I know he made a couple of plays last night that Russell handed him, but I mean that is more about Russell than it is about Stefan Gilmore.
I think what happens in these situations, Jared, it's just unfortunate that this is where we're at as a society now. It's that if you say something contrary to what someone else believes, even though, what you are saying has truth to it, like you're just watching the game and you're like, I've seen Stefan Gilmore be the defensive player of the year, and I see Stefan Gilmore now. He's not that player. He can't run anymore, moving to safety. I'm not saying the kid can't play in the NFL. I'm just saying he can't be a corner anymore, moving to safety. They did it to Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson is a Hall of Famer.
Sure. They did it to Charles Woodson.
Yeah, Charles Woodson. You can't play corner no more, so we got to move you to safety. So when you say things like that, and if people don't follow closely the player you're talking about, they all of a sudden think, oh, you're hating and you're a clown because no. If you've been watching what I've watched, you would say the same exact thing. Listen, if you want to get the best out of Stefan Gilmore, put him at safety. Just like I said about Farley. If you want to get the best out of Farley, put him at safety. He's not a corner in this league. And I would tell Bakari, right now Stefan Gilmore is not a top 10 or 15 corner in the league anymore. He was at one point the best corner in the National Football League, but he has lost the step. We're not saying the guy can't play in the NFL. Just move his position. There's nothing wrong with that. He might end up being like Charles Woodson and Rod Woodson. You can also put him in the Hall of Fame as a safety as well because they play so well. But that doesn't make you a clown because you're looking at a person and you're seeing what he is now as opposed to what he used to be. You could have said there what would have been a clown move if you would have said, man, Stefan Gilmore is still one of the top 5 corners in the league. Now, that's a clown analysis.
Now, people are going to say that.
Yeah.
Like they're going to say, oh, look at Gilmore making those plays in the game.
Not.
And it's
No, he's not.
That's what people are going to say, though. Texter into the text line says that Geno Smith now has an NFL record for the highest completion percentage through the first 4 weeks of the season. It kind of feels like even though Seattle's not going to win a lot of games, and I know they're 2-2 and everybody in that division's 2-2, it does kind of feel like Seattle played their hand perfectly with Russell Wilson.
Course. You know what Russell's completion rate is right now?
30% maybe?
It's like 50, I think it's 54% through 5 games.
I mean, he made one throw yesterday to a wide open Jerry Jeudy, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard for me to watch.
Even what was so funny about it is it was in the fourth quarter. Was in the fourth quarter overtime. There was a penalty. I think it was an offsides or false or something. But they let the play kind of go on, and there's a wide open guy running across the middle run across the field. I think it was Sutton. He threw a bad pass to Sutton at that point.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, you can't hit a guy even after a penalty, and they stopped the game.
Here's the hard part, though, about this, which is whichever quarterback lost the game was going to be the story today. Because if the Colts had lost, it would have been about how terrible Matt Ryan was. Because Matt Ryan was pretty bad, too. What I wonder is how much of this is really Matt Ryan's fault. I mean, I don't think Matt Ryan is good anymore. I think he's probably average. But that one shot that they had of him on the bench where he was just screaming at Nick Foles And I knew that he was basically complaining about everybody else to Foles. Foles was just sitting there listening to him vent about, and I'm sure it was about the line or the receivers or the play call or maybe all three. But I do think that Matt Ryan is in a tough spot with all that. Russell probably, his coach has no clue if it's pumped or stuffed. But other than that, Russell is the problem with the Broncos.
Here's, I think Matt Ryan, I think he's so upset because he knows that he doesn't have that ability to move around in a pocket like he used to. He doesn't have that ability to say if it's 3rd and 5, everything breaks down, he can at least get 5 yards with his legs. He can't do that anymore. He understands it and he realizes it. And he's frustrated that the guys up front doesn't realize it. They don't realize what his limitations are.
That line's terrible.
Yeah. And he's looking at it like, man, y'all know I'm limited as a quarterback. If you give me a clean pocket, I can do what I need to do. But if I got to worry about who's coming off the left side, who's getting beat on the right side, can I step up in the pocket? I don't have the athleticism anymore to get outside the pocket and make plays. This is why Bronco fans need to be mad at Russell Wilson, because he still has that ability, but he chooses not to use it.
He doesn't want to run.
Yeah, he chooses not to use it. That's why Bronco fans need to be mad, because this could be a different story if he would just get out the pocket, buy some time, and try to find an over receiver. He's not doing that.
He doesn't run at all.
No.
And then yesterday, after he threw that horrible interception, he tried to play superhero and tried to make a tackle and almost got concussed.
He almost got dinged. It's not funny, but it was just like, man, you threw a bad interception, and then you're trying to make a play, and you got kind of bow.
You're a general manager in the NFL right now, and you have to pick. You've got $20 million, and you have to give it to either guy, because Russell makes $50, and where I'm going does not. But you have to pay $20 million, and it could be either or. So money is not a factor here.
Okay.
Who would you rather have be your starting quarterback for your franchise right now?
No. But are we saying I am the Denver Broncos or whatever team this other person is?
You are the Denver Broncos.
Okay. All right.
Russell Wilson or Cooper Rush?
Right now, Cooper Rush.
That's a travesty.
Right at this point in time,
Cooper Rush got released before the start of the season.
Yeah.
Any team could have had Cooper Rush.
I'm taking Cooper Rush. At this point in time, I'm taking Cooper Rush.
Any team in the league could have had Cooper Rush. Russell Wilson went for 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a tight end, and is worth $250 million. That's how crazy. That's how bad Russell Wilson's been.
Yeah, I'm taking Cooper Rush.
That is insane. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, and I'm not saying you're wrong. 615-737-1025 here on the program. The Titans, I don't think they're going to do this, but I'm worried that they might. We will get to that coming up next here on the program. Hey, be sure to catch the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, Monday at 6 o'clock, live from 6th and Peabody. The Eddie George Show is brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander, my agent, gives you more options. More options means more saving for you. Free quote at XanderInsurance.com.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game. Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are. We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hockey season is back in Smashville. The 2022-23 Preds season brings energy, excitement, and the loudest fans in hockey. But the question is, are you ready? Be there for the home opener on October 13th to cheer on your Predators as they face the Dallas Stars at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets available now at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Get your tickets and mark your calendar. Welcome back, Smashville. Let's go, Preds.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick,
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee,
and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase. Jared in D-Mase here. Fireball Hot Take Friday, 615-737-1025. Preds pregame in 1 hour from, well, I guess it would be from Network Control. And then in 2 hours, puck drop on the 2022-2023 season as the Predators take on the San Jose Sharks in Prague. So be excited about that. So we will be on Sunday, 9:30 for the pregame show here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, Derek. And I am concerned about one thing. I don't think the Titans are going to do this, but I am absolutely, positively worried that they could do this. See, this is what happened. When I say that somebody stinks, sometimes people think that that means that they're going to lose every game because I said they stink, and that's not how this works. And I will say that the Washington Commanders stink. I think that's a bad football team. I think they're going to win like 6 games this year, maybe 6, 4, 5, somewhere around there. Their organization is horrendous. They have a terrible owner. They're just a terrible franchise, terrible team, terrible quarterback. You know, they've got some receivers that are okay, terrible defense. They are terrible stadium. They are terrible. And they've been terrible for a long time. And until they get rid of this goofball owner, they're going to be a terrible franchise from here on out. And yet, I do think there is a legitimate chance. Not a legitimate chance the Titans are going to lose on Sunday, but I could see it. I could see the Titans, knowing that Washington stinks, after Mike Vrabel admonished anybody who had any reservations about that win on Sunday against Indianapolis, where it was almost too cheery for Vrabel. I could see them going into this game against Washington and throwing up one of those horrendous performances that the Titans do from time to time. They got the bye week upcoming. Cancun's just right around the corner. The Colts are on the other side of it. They can probably knock them out. Titans are starting to feel good about themselves. Titans still have a lot of problems that they have to fix. I have seen this movie one too many times with this team. I could see it. I could see them losing on Sunday. I don't think they're going to do it, but I could see it. And for some reason, I just feel like losing that game Sunday would be absolutely, positively catastrophic.
Yeah, it would be. For several different reasons, but you've already, dropped the game to the Giants, who you should have beat, early in the season. Shout outs to my man D Ward, former back with the Giants. They won a Super Bowl with him. That's why I'm giving them shout outs.
Oh, yes.
Derek Ward. He was a monster back for them. But no, you already dropped the game to that division already.
And to a team who stinks.
And to a team that's,
I know
their record doesn't say they're a bad team, but they're a team, their quarterback play, you still wonder.
Titans should have won that game.
Yeah, but the Titans had their opportunity. They should have won that game. But again, it goes back to you play a great first half, and then the second half you just fall asleep for whatever. After that happens, you can't then travel up to Washington. And after the way the coach pulled out their victory and how bad they look, you then can't go to Washington and drop that game. You can't. As bad or as average as this division is, you can't lose to a bad or an average team, because even though you're above average, you're still not a upper echelon team. You can't afford to say you got to go down there and you got to pick up a victory. And then again, if you don't, what does that say about your team?
That you stink.
Pretty much so. And then now you got to regroup. And if it goes the way it has been going, now you got to give an answer for why you're not playing well in the second half. You can't just say, again, we'll win the win, we'll take the win, that's all that matters, As long as we're able to down the ball at the end of the game, that's all that matters, regardless of how we play in the second half. Well, if you lose this game and you play bad in the second half, again, the fans are going to get tired of that. The fans, you're going to start having to explain yourself.
You have Denver Bronco fans.
Exactly. You're going to have to start explaining yourself. But I'm with you. I don't think that they will go up to D.C. and lose, or Virginia, wherever. Yeah, the team's in Virginia. But they're the Washington Commanders. But you got to go up there and you got to take care of business, because on paper, you are a better team than them. You are a better coach team than them. So there's no way you go up there and you lose this game. You can't. This is one of these games that I don't put it in the must-win category, but it's an important game.
No, it's in the must-win category.
You put it in the must-win category?
Yeah, here's why. Because to your point, they already dropped the Giants game, which was totally inexcusable. And I said this the day before they played the Giants. I said this on the pregame show.
Uh-huh.
I said the only way the Titans can lose this game is if they act like they can't lose this game. And in the first half, the Titans played hard football. In the second half, they thought they couldn't lose the game, and they went out there and lost the game. The only way they lose to Washington is if they go out there on Sunday and they think that they can't lose, which they, unfortunately, have a tendency to do. They've got a handful of what I would consider gimme games left on the schedule. Washington, 2 with the Texans, and then other than that, like maybe at the Chargers, because the Chargers might be terrible. But, I mean, in all seriousness, the rest of it, Indy, Kansas City, Denver should be a gimme game at home, right?
You would think.
At Green Bay, Cincinnati, at Philly. So the games like Dallas at home, those, even though they're not going to lose all those games, they're not going to win all those games either.
Exactly.
So if the Titans can't beat Washington, then let's say that all those other games after this one, that's 5, there's 12 games, let's say they split them. And so now they're a 9-win team, and that doesn't guarantee anything. Because Jacksonville plays a much easier schedule, and Jacksonville might win 10, or Jacksonville might win the 2 games against the Titans, and then at 9 wins, you're done. So to me, I think the Titans need to keep everything rolling. Like they need to win this game and keep their lead on Indianapolis and either stay equal with Jacksonville or pass Jacksonville if Jacksonville loses to Houston, go into their bye to get some players back, then, the beat Indianapolis, beat the Houstons, beat those teams, and then see what happens against the Green Bays and the Philadelphias and the Cincinnatis and go from there. Because I don't think that they're going to lose all the games to Green Bay, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Philadelphia, but they're definitely not going to win all those games. So now they've already lost 2. I mean, let's throw this into the good teams left on the schedule.
Okay.
Kansas City on the road, Green Bay on the road, Cincinnati, Philadelphia on the road, Chargers on the road, Dallas at home.
So Philly and Cincinnati are both on the road?
Cincinnati's at home. Cincinnati and Dallas are at home.
Okay.
And everything else is on the road. So Philadelphia's on the road, Kansas City's on the road, Green Bay's on the road on Thursday night, Chargers on the road.
That's tough.
So let's just say that the Titans split those. So I think that was 6 games, right? So that's 3. So now you're at 5 losses. So the best you can do is the same as last year, which is 12-5. You lose another game, now you're 11-6, and even in this division, it's still kind of creeping up a little bit that might be. Well, add the Washington game in there because Washington, we're saying if they lose, so now you've lost 6 games, and at that point the Titans have to win out, which would include sweeping the division. And to your point earlier, if you lose to Washington, what does that say about you? It says you're not a very good football team. And you're not going to sweep the division if you're a bad football team.
No, you're not. I think this division is...
Unless they can seal all those at Green Bay on a Thursday night kind of
they're going to have to. And you know, there's nothing saying that they will not steal a game in Green Bay on a Thursday night. Now, if it's on a Sunday or, some Monday, that's different. But a Thursday night off of such a short week, then maybe Vrabel has been good at that, getting his team ready to compete and win games on Thursday nights. This division, I'm looking at it, and it's, again, I think this is a subpar to bad division.
Sure. With the real question mark being Jackson.
Exactly. And if you can't go up to Virginia and beat D.C., I know that sounds crazy, people, but that's the truth. If you can't go up to Virginia and beat Washington, because I think that the best roster in this division may be the Jacksonville Jaguars roster. They got a lot of youth, and they got a lot of good players. Now these young good players are starting to play better under a new coach, a better coach than what they had last year. If you can't win this game, or if you falter in any way for whatever reason, it does put pressure on you, not necessarily with Indianapolis, but with Jacksonville. Because, like you said, Jacksonville beats Houston. Now what does that say?
Yeah.
Now you got to pick up some of those tough wins, against Green Bay, against Dallas, against Philadelphia. You got to pick up those tough wins. Because if you don't, I think Jacksonville's, with their schedule, even though I think the NFL schedule, I think all games are hard. That's just the way I am, because you don't know what you're going to get on a particular Sunday, Monday, or Thursday with a team. But if you don't win that game, Jacksonville's schedule seems to be a little bit easier, and they are a good football team, a good coach football team with young talent that's hungry. They're tired of being labeled the doormats of the division. These guys are playing now. They could easily be 4-0. They should have won their first game. They had a chance to come. They had Philadelphia up. They were up 14-0 against Philadelphia. If it's not a bad weather turn to rain, the quarterback doesn't play the way he plays. He doesn't throw those interceptions, have those fumbles.
Could you see the Titans losing on Sunday?
Yeah. Because they have done it before.
Because they do it.
Exactly. They've done it before. So, yes, I can see them losing, Jared.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll get your thoughts here on the program. And also, all right, what is Derek worried about happening in this Washington game? 615-737-1025. Hey, join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell tonight for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy, from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the Mid-State. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I do. You know, Michelle and I love Superbook Sportsbook. That is our official sportsbook, and so happy to talk about them. Can you beat Vegas this football season? Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. There's no fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines. It's just the best team of odds makers in the business. They're behind the counter right there at the Superbook in Las Vegas. It's the real deal. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. I do like the Titans laying the 1.5, even though there's been some movement with that line against Washington. I do like the two-tone this weekend on the road. So you can download the app. You can do like I do, put a little bit on the Titans to win that game minus the 1.5. Just visit Superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. You can also visit them for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to finish out baseball season. Which team are you batting for? Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
From Brooklyn, New York, Andrew Dice Clay.
Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with $1.25. Jill came down with $2.50.
Coming January 29th to the Ryman. On sale now. Get your tickets online at Ryman.com and AXS.com. The Dice Man, live.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Hey, it's Big Joe on the go. Look, I get it. Nobody likes being in a car accident, but when that happens, make it easy on yourself and call Apple Collision Centers so you don't have to stress. They're locally owned with 3 convenient locations in O'Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Apple Collision Centers managers combined for 60-plus years experience, and they only recommend original equipment parts on your vehicle. So, if you're in need of a repair today or down the road, just head over to Apple Collision Centers. Stan and his team will take great care of you. Online, applecollisioncenters.com.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Coming off a loss to the Dallas Cowboys 25-10, Carson Wentz, a quarterback that you know.
Yep, and it's a quarterback that, we just can't let him get hot. We got to get him off his rhythm, and he's got some really good weapons.
Mike Keith is like, hey, Carson Wentz, that's a good quarterback to play this week. Yeah, I guess, just can't let him get hot, which is what Vrabel said. If the Titans are going to lose to Washington, Fireball Hot Take Friday, if the Titans are going to lose to Washington this week, why are they going to? What are you actually worried about, Derek, about happening on Sunday that the Titans could lose this game that they absolutely, positively, under no circumstances, should lose?
I think I'm worried about what everybody else is worried about. Are they going to play 60 minutes of football? I think that's the only way they lose against the Commanders if they don't play 2 halves of football. If they come out and do what they've done against the Giants and Buffalo, even though that game was, Buffalo was a much better team, but still they didn't play well in the second half, or any other team, Indianapolis or any other team, then they're going to lose. And that's what I'm worried about. Because at this point of the season, Jared, you shouldn't have these problems. I could see, the first 2 games of the season because, you guys weren't playing together in preseason. Y'all didn't play no games together. So I get the whole getting the rust out of your system, filling everybody out. I get that. First 2 games, I understand. But then after that, y'all should have all this stuff together now. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be. That's why I'm like, Vrabel, I know why you're saying, I get you say, and if I'm a player on that team, I'm saying the same thing. Hey, listen, we got the victory. That's all that matters. I understand that, but there has to be a point where, as a head coach, you think we can't survive like this every game. We just can't. We can't keep playing good first halves.
He knows that.
Yeah, and then the second half, because you can't do with a Green Bay or the Eagles or Cincinnati. You can't do that, or the Chargers. You can't do that with these good teams where, okay, I can play a great first half and then come out the second half and just kind of like coast. You can't do that with these teams. Yeah, you can do that with, in Indianapolis because Indianapolis is not that good. Yeah, you can do that with a Las Vegas Raiders because the Las Vegas Raiders isn't that good. Mm-hmm. But when you go up against Buffalo, you go up against these other teams that are good, you can't say, oh, we're just going to sit back with a 10-point lead. We're good.
Here's the one thing I want to see. I want to see the Titans just play a whole game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the first half is great, the second half is great. I mean, I want to see the Titans play the way they played in the first half and get a lead the last 2 games because I think it's completely possible that they do that this week. And then when they're up, 24-3, I want to see them win the game 35-10, and in the fourth quarter, everybody can relax. That's what I want to see. What I don't want to see is, the trudgery of a football game from the Titans, where it's like, it's late and it's the fourth quarter and it's close because they turned the ball over and Washington got a cheap touchdown off of that, and then the Titans missed a field goal, and then I want the Titans to give me some confidence that they are getting better, because I do think that they are, in spite of the fact that these games have all come down to the wire, I do think they're getting better as a team. And I do think that's a hallmark of Vrabel. And I think Washington stinks. I think Washington knows they stink. I want to see it. And the thing that scares me, saying what scares, Washington's 1-3.
Yeah.
And they're awful. And Ron Rivera at his Monday press conference, and I only know this because I follow one of the guys that does sports there, because I used to work with him in Boston. And he's like the sports director now for one of the TV channels there. And Ron Rivera on Monday was dropping F-bombs and all kinds of stuff about, how hard they're working to get it fixed, and we're going to turn it around, and normally that's the sign of a failing coach or failing organization that is falling apart. But for one game,
yeah,
that might be enough. That might be everybody in that locker room, we know they stink, and they probably deep down inside know that they stink, but their season's not officially over yet. And so this is a week where I feel like they are kind of coming together saying, hey, we beat Tennessee. We're 2-3. Our season is saved. We can still do this, guys. And that does bother me.
Well, they are in a must-win situation.
Yeah.
That's why.
And that makes them very dangerous.
Exactly. That's why, the head coach, Ron, comes out and he says what he said, because he understands, these are dire times and we need a dire message. We need that message to motivate light a fire underneath these players or underneath everyone in this building, because if we don't win this game, we can forget about, a playoff spot. Now we're just trying to play to stay above water if we don't win this game, because their division, is a good division, with Philadelphia being 4-0, Dallas being 3-1. I don't think Washington would catch those two teams, even though Dallas managed to falter, and I think Philadelphia would come, back down to earth. But if you can't, pick up a victory at home against a okay team, not a really good team, not a great, it's a solid team. Mm-hmm. If you can't pull out a victory against a solid team, your season's pretty much done, because I don't think Washington is going to go on a roll and win, 7-8 games.
No, and everybody in their division is 3-1 except the Eagles, who are 4-0.
Exactly. So this is a must-win. They're going to pull out everything they need to pull out in order to win this game.
Do you think they're going to win?
I don't think they're going to win, but is there a possibility? Yeah. It's the Titans. It's the Titans, man.
I was talking to TD about this yesterday, and I said to TD, I go, if the Titans play to how they're capable of playing, and normally when we talk about somebody playing to how they're capable of playing, we're talking about as good as they can play. Uh-huh. But in this instance, I was talking about capable of playing bad. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about – I think anybody who knows the Titans knows this is absolutely a game they could lose. Like, that, absolutely. I mean, I have no respect for that organization at all. Washington, zero. I think their owner is a complete knucklehead. I think that I think the stadium is dilapidated. I think the quarterback sucks. I think the team, I think they're awful. And yet I absolutely think the Titans could lose this game. I mean, because that's just what they do.
That's the Titans for
That's just what the Titans do. Mm-hmm. And it's so frustrating. I just want to see the Titans play competent football. That's all I want.
A full game of competent
just
football.
A full game of competent football. It doesn't have to be what it was in the first half against the Colts, which was elite football, which was every time down the field score a touchdown, and every time on defense turn them over. I just, need to see, let's say Titans score on the first drive, then they hold Washington, gets a first down, then Washington has to punt, then the Titans get the ball back, and they get a couple first downs, and then they have to punt, and then Washington, throws an interception, and the Titans kick a field goal, and now it's 10-0, and then the Titans in the second half get the ball up 10-0, and they go down the field and they score, and now it's 17. Like, that's what I'm asking for.
So if the games, going into halftime, if the game says 7-10, and it's been good football by the Titans. And
you mean with the Titans leading?
Yeah, Titans leading.
Okay, 10-7.
10-7.
Okay.
They're playing good football. Washington is holding their own. They're fighting. They're scrapping. Second half comes out. It's the same thing. The Titans, they play the same way they did in the first half and the second half. Mm-hmm. And, but it's a tight game with a minute left. And say, Washington got the ball and the Titans are up 20-14. At that particular moment. Not to say that Washington's going to score anything. Sure. Are you satisfied with the Titans now? If they're playing good ball first and second quarter, but the game's close.
Boy, I tell you, what's funny is I think a lot of us judge these things, and I think I'm certainly this way, judge these things by what the kind of the opinion going into the game is of the team that they're playing. To where I could be like, no, Washington sucks. But at the same time, you're telling me that they play good ball and that they find a way to basically win a 6-point game that we have to hold on to our rear ends for at the end? Probably.
But they play good second
football.
half.
They play solid football.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, this is that league. Like, that's that league. Very few blowouts because very few teams actually are terrible. Mm-hmm. Now, this is one of them. But very few teams are actually terrible. Everybody's got good players. This team has good players. Antonio Gibson's a good player. I think Chase Young is going to play this week. He's a good player. Terry McLaurin's a good player. Like, they have good players. They just don't have enough of them. Yeah. And they have a bad organization. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 here on the program. By the way, Tennessee, big one tomorrow at 11 against LSU. And Derek thinks that Tennessee's going to beat Georgia, so surely he has to think that Tennessee's going to beat LSU. We'll discuss that coming up. First, though, Derek wants to tell us about Cool Springs MD.
Yes, I do, and I know we have a bunch of men listeners, and so I'm talking directly to our men listeners here, and we got a bunch of women listeners as well, but this message is for my men. I need to tell you about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give the men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, and that we do need. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of the Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy level, cognitive functions, and more. I am one of those men, people. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. So what are you waiting on, man? Give Cool Springs MD a call today, Dr. Jeffrey Lodge, and make an appointment at 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458, or visit the website, coolspringsmd.com.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willy Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion, or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. One of the things I love about betting the NFL is that I'm always finding new players or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout, which is perfect for this week's games. I'm going to have to go with Derrick Henry rushing for a bunch of yards, and I think the Titans on the money line might be the play even on the road. FanDuel's easy to use, easy to register, easy to deposit, and easy to find your bet. And you get fast withdrawals, so when you win, FanDuel pays you your winnings fast. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay, so lock in your bet today on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $1,000 back in free bets if your first bet doesn't win with the promo code JGM. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt, and restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The Electronic Express famous half-price fair is back and better than ever. This week, save up to 50% on all your favorite brands. Don't miss out on these record low prices. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 50% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Did he get it? He did. Touchdown, Vanderbilt. This is your home for Vanderbilt football. Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Ole Miss from First Bank Stadium right here in Nashville. Coverage starts at 1:30. Vanderbilt is on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Few things that you have to get ironed out if you're Tennessee. Look, you're going on the road. The game's at 11 o'clock, by the way. So I've never seen LSU at 11 o'clock, but I would imagine it's wild. Needless to say, can't turn the ball over. All right. They got to be better. They didn't do a great job of that against Florida a couple times out. A little bit of an issue. That's for sure. Princeton Fant put the ball on the turf. Hendon Hooker really, for the first time all season, he didn't look great in the pocket, at least early on. But that sack fumble and it was fine. They also had a snap go over Hendon Hooker's head. Of course, that was wiped out because of the Florida offsides penalty. They also got stopped on 4th down early in the game, too. So, those 4 plays, I know they might not seem significant, but those 4 plays can have a massive impact on you on the road.
There you go. That was Derek's former teammate, Greg McElroy, SEC ESPN analyst, talking about Tennessee tomorrow at LSU. Now, Derek has predicted that Tennessee is going to beat Georgia this season, which I am never going to let you live down because
I'm holding on to it.
I know you know. Like, I know you know that they're not going to beat Georgia.
No, I think they are. In my heart of hearts, yes, I believe they are.
Nick, do you believe that in Derek's heart of hearts that he thinks that Georgia is going to lose to Tennessee?
100%. He's been saying that for weeks.
Yeah, I'm not changing. That's the way I feel. Based upon what I've seen from Tennessee. Now, I am concerned about their defensive line, and I've always said this.
And secondary.
But that's a byproduct of the defensive line. They can't get to the passer. The passer has all day sitting back there patting the football. You can, like you said this before, you got Deion Sanders, Rod Woodson, Champ Bailey, whoever else. Exactly. If I can't get pressure on the quarterback, somebody's eventually going to get open.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
the way the rules are now in both college and pro football.
Exactly. Somebody's going to get open. So I think the secondary is as much of a byproduct to what the defensive line is doing or not doing than anything. They are not, even against the bad teams that they play, they have not gotten pressure on the quarterback.
So here's what bothers me about the LSU game, is that I feel like I think Tennessee's going to win. I do. I think Tennessee's going to go to LSU. I think they've got better players than LSU. I think right now they're more in sync than LSU, and I think they have a much, 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 much better and more experienced and more comfortable quarterback than LSU. And so I think they're going to win. But the past Tennessee teams, and I'm talking about, the Butch Jones when they got good, or when people thought for a second that Dooley might have a nice little team, or really every decent Tennessee team since 2001, when they would play this kind of game, where they go on the road to LSU and a lot of people are going to watch, even if they had the better team, they'd lose. Every time. Every time they'd lose this kind of game. And I felt like before the Florida game, I felt comfortable in Tennessee because I feel like Heupel is not like the other Tennessee coaches. I don't think that he, buys into all the hype and everything else and all the stuff that I think gets a lot of these Tennessee coaches either in their own way or gets them distracted, which I can appreciate. It's almost like a mercenary. Like, yeah, he wears a Tennessee shirt and a Tennessee hat, but he doesn't really care about Tennessee. He's just doing his job, which I think they need, not somebody who bleeds orange and every day wakes up thinking that they're a great ball, whatever. But then the Florida game happened. Florida sucks. And the Florida game happened, and Tennessee, even though they won the game, they looked a lot like the past Tennessee teams that just get too mentally discombobulated at the sight of the Florida Gators. And so then I'm like, is Josh Heupel different than all the other past coaches and teams and mental hurdles? And are they different than that, or are they not? Because if this is the same old kind of Tennessee team, then they would lose this LSU game that they should win. But if this is a new Tennessee era with a coach who's not going to get tripped up by himself and a quarterback who is a veteran and knows what to do, then I think they're going to win. And that is how I feel about this game on Saturday.
Are they a better team than the LSU? Absolutely.
How many times have you seen Tennessee?
Can they
go at a place like this where they're the better team and they just blow it?
Well, we've seen it under Butch Jones. We see him do it. We see him
all
do
the
it
time.
Under Butch Jones. We see them
do
it under Pruitt, where they were, the better team, but ended up losing for whatever reason. I think this team is different. Not only from a head coach standpoint, I think Josh Heupel is different because he's always going to try to put consistent pressure on opposing team's defense. One reason, because that's all he knows. His offense, that's all he knows is up tempo, go, 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 go. But then two, he understands if he doesn't, his defense is not strong enough at this point to hold a really good team down for too long. Even a team that may not be really good, but they have a quarterback like Florida's quarterback that is able to move around in the pocket, get these sort of hidden yardage or these touchdowns that maybe they shouldn't have got, but because the quarterback extended the play and he did some things, they were able to find a guy down the field, and there you go, a touchdown. So he understands that. I got to keep scoring points. And his offense is going to score points against anybody. And I'll say this again. They will score points against anybody in college football. I don't care if it's Alabama. I don't care if it's Georgia. You're talking about Georgia, one of the best defenses in the country. They're going to score at least 28 points against Georgia.
I was going to say Tennessee's probably going to score 30 points every single game.
They're going to score. Their thing is our defenses has to get 2 or 3 plays to give us the ball back so we can score more points than the other team does. To me, that's the difference. He's always going to put consistent pressure on you. And then his quarterback is so seasoned and he's so confident right now that there's nothing I don't think there's anything he believes he can't do, or there's anything he doesn't believe that he can will everybody else to do, not only on offense but on defense. I think he's going to get those boys so hyped to play, that quarterback. This has nothing to do with hype when they play Georgia and Alabama. I think it's going to have everything to do with the quarterback. He's going to get them so ready to play that they're going to come out there and do the things necessary to win one of those games.
Is he going to have them that hyped up tomorrow, though?
I think he will. But the tricky part about it is they play Alabama next. So are you going to overlook?
If you overlook LSU,
and I know you
Tennessee
shouldn't.
Overlooks LSU,
I know you should. You're absolutely right.
Sin.
You're absolutely right. They shouldn't, because is LSU a great team? No, they're not a great team. They're a good team.
It's a respectable team on the road at a place that's incredibly hard to play.
You got Alabama next week. And and if you allow yourself to think, okay, we're better than LSU, we're going to win this game because we got Alabama next week. That's the true test right there.
But don't you trust the coach and the quarterback to not do that? Like
I
trust this coach and this quarterback more than I trust the past coaches and the past quarterbacks.
I trust them to make sure they don't, because I know I just sat here and said, I think Hendon Hooker is going to have those guys ready for the Alabama and Georgia game. That's almost easy to do because it's Alabama and Georgia. So that quarterback's it's going to be a little bit harder for him to do it against LSU. Why? Because they all believe they're better than LSU anyway. So our quarterback's going to find a way to win a game. We don't. I mean, if we just go out and get a stop or two, our quarterback's going to win the game for us.
So you think it's going to be like that Pittsburgh game?
Exactly.
Where they knew they were better than Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
And yet, boy, that was a trudge.
Exactly.
For them to find a way to win that game. And it was a good win. Like, I'm not taking – I mean, I know it was overtime, and I'm not diminishing the Pittsburgh win for Tennessee. The Florida game leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
But it shouldn't, because they always play Florida. It doesn't matter. Florida is Florida.
I know, but it was at home, and Florida looked inept the previous 2 weeks in their own building against South Florida. I mean, our team, Derek, at Louisville is so bad.
Yeah, y'all are bad.
I mean, we just lost to Boston College. Like, we are – I feel bad for old coach because he's –
and Chris picked that game, too, and won.
I can't believe he did that. Good for him. Because old coach is about to get booted out the door, any moment now. And Florida hung on to survive by 3 against South Florida, and the next week we beat them 41-3. Like, that's how bad Florida played the week before they played Tennessee. And so now they're going to Tennessee, and Tennessee's going to hang 30, which they did. And then I was expecting Florida to be bad, like they had been bad against Kentucky and bad against South Florida, and no.
Because, again, it's the rivalry.
Maybe.
Tennessee, Florida, you're going to give your best. You're going to play your best game.
Do you think that LSU is looking at Tennessee with a target on them? Because LSU, they dropped that first game to Florida State to start the season. They looked terrible for the first half last week against Auburn, found a way to win that game, but they're at home. Tennessee's a top 10 team. It's, two traditional SEC powers. Is there something that Tennessee needs to be worried about? Going up against LSU, LSU saying, hey, we know we're not going to beat Alabama. We know we're not going to beat any of the good teams in the SEC West, but let's try to beat, I guess there really aren't all that many good teams in the SEC West, but let's beat Tennessee.
Yeah, it can be. Because I'm sure LSU is probably thinking, they're looking at Alabama's situation. They know it's between them and Alabama in the West. Auburn's not good. Ole Miss. Yeah,
Ole Miss is probably
how long can Ole Miss hold on?
Arkansas, man, they're really letting me down.
Yeah, Arkansas just continues to sort of do things to kind of lose them games, and they keep going downhill. So it's really, at this point, it's a 3-team race.
If
Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss.
If Tennessee wins, the Sugar Bowl is a real possibility. Because I think Alabama and Georgia might both make the playoff, which means that the third highest-ranked SEC team would go to the Sugar Bowl. And Kentucky might be out after what happened last week. Ole Miss is certainly going to lose an SEC West game or maybe 2 SEC West games or whatever. And so outside of that, it could be Tennessee.
Well, I predict this will happen.
Well, you predict that they'll beat Georgia.
Yeah. Tennessee is going to run into the same thing that Ohio State did a few years ago. Ohio State didn't make it to the Big Ten championship game. They lost one game. I think it was to Michigan that year. And Ohio State still ended up going to the playoffs. Why? Because they were able to sit back and just watch those two teams beat each other, and they still had an argument. We're a one-loss team.
That can only happen if Tennessee beats Alabama.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If they beat Alabama, loses to Georgia, sit back and wait, then they're in the playoffs. To me, they're in. Because
Probably.
I don't think there's any other teams, based upon what I've seen in the SEC, I don't think there's any other teams that can beat Tennessee, but possibly Georgia and Alabama.
Predators game day is next. Predators and Sharks at 1 o'clock pregame. In 15 minutes, we'll do that. Derek, tell us about BetUS.
Absolutely, people. It has started with yesterday, pro football. So I know you got your bets in. And I know since you've been listening to me, you went to BetUS to get that done. And it's back for its 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. That's a lot, people. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all their favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. MLB is heading into the playoffs now. NBA is just starting. They also got hundreds of new casinos games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are there waiting for you at the tables. You need a sport book with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will be getting paid. You need a sport book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. So call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up your new account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. So join now. Mention 1025, which is the greatest sports station out there, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Listen, nobody beats that. So head on over to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
2, 3, 4, look. High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Popis. Forecast for today. A warmer start, but a cooler end to the day after 50s in the morning. High temperatures low to middle 70s later on this afternoon. Still dry, still humidity free. Possible frost Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
One of the best things to happen here over the last year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Willy Donick here. QC Kinetics is helping people in our area get real, lasting relief from their joint pain with the latest in regenerative medicine. No drugs, no downtime, no steroids, no surgery. In fact, QC Kinetics has tripled in size. Now with clinics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, one near you. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, whatever joint it is, don't think steroids and surgery are your only options. Regenerative medicine treatments at QC Kinetics use natural biologics, healing agents from your own body. It restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for years, and now it's available to you and me. So many people here have done this and are raving about how they got their life back without that nagging daily pain. Appointments are available as soon as next week, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics and learn how modern precision medicine can help you deal with the pain caused by arthritis or injury without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024 for the consultation. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Hey folks, Joe Rexford here. Listen, to do the job I do, I got to stay on the move, and sometimes that can catch up to me. Even when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body, and that's why I use the high quality and wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, and man, I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel like I'm in Colorado, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Save 25% now on every shipment of gummies with a subscription. That's OrderGreen.com. Subscribe to save 25% on gummies.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexroad.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes. That's right, TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Buying or selling, or even thinking about buying or selling? Talk to TJ Anderson. He's my realtor. TJ has sold me 2 homes and has done even more for my friends, and I have no hesitation referring them to him and his wonderful staff. Also, TJAndersonHomes.com is coming soon, and they will have home reports if you're selling your home, reports on value, equity, suggestions on what you can do with that equity, and much more. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, TJAndersonHomes.com. Predators Game Day usually happens at 5:55 at night. Instead, 11:52 today, because it's a 1 o'clock puck drop today out in Prague at O2 Arena. Of course, the game will be right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. The San Jose Sharks last year, Derek, were 32, 37, and 13. That was bad enough for 77 points. GM out, coach out, new people in for San Jose. Meanwhile, the Predators were 45-30-7, good for 97 points. They made it to the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, where they were eliminated in 4 games by the Colorado Avalanche. We start with the coach's take, John Hines, on getting ready for today's season opener against the Sharks in Prague.
Putting all that work in, there was a lot of it behind the scenes, but now you've had the chance to do it on the ice. As it sort of said, okay, you did a pretty good job getting it to this point.
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to the players. I think that they came in motivated. We asked guys to get 1% better over the summer and challenged our veteran players to come in and drive training camp and the pace that we want to play at, the competitiveness we want to be able to play at, and structure-wise being on the same page and getting our systems installed so we can be ready to go to the start of the season. I thought those guys have done a good job. We feel like we're certainly prepared to play, and now it's coming out and executing.
So today, they'll have their first game outside of North America in 22 years.
Oh, wow.
It'll be their third ever game outside of North America. Roman Josi, by the way, has 23 points in 28 games against the Sharks, including 4 points and 4 goals in a game on March 5th of this past year. Derek, you've started seasons before. The Predators and the Behind the Glass, they talked about their expectations and everything else going into the season. How big are these 2 games? We'll start with today. How big is today's game to get off on the right foot playing overseas?
Well, it's safe to say that he has San Jose's number. Mm-hmm. He plays well against San Jose. But no, in any team sport, you always want to get off on a good start. You're playing, a team that you feel you're better than, from top to bottom. You have marquee players. So you want to go out and especially because you didn't have, you don't have enough time to sort of, cultivate this new team and figure out guys where guys need to be. And they play a lot of hockey together before the first game of the season. You don't have that in hockey. So I think it's critical for the Preds to come out on a good note and at least give the fans it's almost one of those deals where, we saw the preseason, we saw a few games, but we don't really know what this team is. Where you come out this game and you show them what this team is or can be.
2 big wins, in my opinion, 2 big wins today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get on the plane, come home, open it up at Thursday at Bridgestone Arena. We'll have a different feeling than if they don't. So that's going to do it for us. The pregame show is next. Max Hers will have you. Again, puck drop is at 1 o'clock. Postgame show to follow. Stillman and company after that. For Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Right, Ray Soundswell.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.